Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Alpha Live. My name is Dr. Esmeralda Rodriguez, Director of Programs at Alpha National, and I'm excited to be here today with Hady Méndez, best-selling author, Latina speaker, and ERG coach. Hady is the founder and CEO of Boldly Speaking LLC, where she helps professionals build confidence, advocate for themselves, and thrive in workplaces that weren't always built for them. Her book, Calladita No More, is a powerful collection of stories about identity, courage, refranes, and the moments in our careers and lives when we decide to speak up, take up space, and step fully into who we are. To get us started, I'd love to hear from you, the audience, in the chat. What do you think about when do you think about your career? And what is one area where you want to take up more space? Let us know in the chat. And as a quick reminder, we are giving away copies of Calladita No More. To enter, just fill out the form linked in the chat below in the event description or in the banner. And with that, please join me in welcoming Hady Méndez to Alpha Live.
Hola, hola.
Hola, hola. So let's kick off with talking about this book. Tell us what inspired you to write Calladita No More, and why did you feel like now was the right time?
Yes. First of all, hello to the audience. Hello to the Alpha Familia. I'm so happy to be here. I'm honored to be here with you all today. And I'm excited to share Calladita No More with all of you. So I guess I'll start off by saying sort of a blanket statement. And that's that I'm in the stage of my career journey where I'm really giving back. So like people call like there's a term like the señora era. I'm in the giving back era. And yeah, I want to pour into my community. That's a priority for me right now. And because of that, I felt that writing a book about my journey, to inspire, to motivate, to inform, to educate the next generation of leaders, that was a way for me to really impact the community at a really big scale. So, I could come on shows like this, I could do my content that I do on LinkedIn, or I could write a book that could get into thousands and thousands of people's hands. And that's why I decided to write the book. And I would say that the goal that I have with writing the book is to make other people feel seen and heard. And I know that I didn't always feel seen and heard in my own journey. It took probably 20 years into my career journey. I read a book called The Memo by Minda Harts. So it was a book that made me feel seen and heard, and it was written by a Black woman, and she wrote it for BIPOC women. And that was the book where I felt seen as a corporate person, as a corporate woman, Latina, woman of color. And it made me realize that I wasn't the only one experiencing microaggressions in the workplace. And that was a game changer for me, because then I didn't feel like it was in my head. I was like, oh, this happens to other people. Like I'm not the only one. And that changed the game for me. So yeah. So that's my story about the book,
Thank
about
you.
why I wrote the book.
Yeah, we all have those moments when taking a look at like the books that we've read throughout our lives that have made a change. And I'm really struck by you saying that you wanted to hear stories that reflected your experience, that sounded like you. And I've been literally listening to your audiobook, and I'm in your voice. I hear, because she narrates the audiobook, y'all, available also on audible.com. So in hearing you switch in and out of Spanish and English, there's such a familiarity to what my own voice sounds like on a daily. And it was a really beautiful thing to listen to. And in this book, I keep hearing the refranes that I grew up with and the refranes that you grew up with. And it's such
Yep.
a powerful way to make connections to my own life and experiences through your
Mhm.
story. So throughout the book, these sayings play such a central role to your
Mhm.
stories. Could you share one refran that continues to shape you and your work?
Yes, I am going to share it. There's so many. So just for the audience to know, there's, I believe, 24 refranes in the book. There's 12 chapters. So every chapter starts with a refran, and then that I translate into English. So if you don't speak Spanish, you're good. Don't worry, I got you. And then I use refranes freely throughout my text, throughout the chapter itself. So there's a lot of fun refranes, and I hope like you see one or two or a couple that you grew up with. The one that I'm gonna share with you here is one. It's santo que no me quiere con no rezarle basta. So what that kind of loosely translates to, and remember that like the Latino culture is very Catholic slash Christian. So this is saying if a saint doesn't love me, it's enough not to pray to it, which it's like that doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense. And I discovered as I was translating a lot of these refranes that they didn't make sense translated directly. Like you have to kind of interpret them, if you will. And I think the way I take this refrain is that we're not for everyone, and that's okay. So I want to like kind of start there with just like level setting that it's okay that we're not going to be for everyone. A lot of us have trouble accepting, I think, that everyone is not going to be for us or even like us. And sometimes, and I would say most of the time, it doesn't even have anything to do with us. Like it's just like stuff that people have going on. But like, we might be on the receiving end of it. And what I want to encourage the audience to do is to stop people pleasing and wasting energy on people that might never acknowledge or recognize everything that you're bringing to the table. So when you have an experience when someone doesn't feel like they're really recognizing and appreciating you, you can feel free to kind of move on and to give your time and energy to people and projects that are reciprocating the energy you're bringing. So that's something that I wanted to share with the group, and that's something that I live by. And it's hard. I'm not going to say it's an easy thing, but over time, a través del tiempo, I would say it's like something that I'm embracing, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, I'm gonna invest in the places and spaces where I am valued and appreciated, and that's kind of how I've chosen to walk through the world, and I recommend it for others.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And if you want to drop in the chat and let us know what are some refranes, some sayings that you carry with you to sort of push you forward. As I was listening to your book, I was thinking to myself that my age-old one is ponte las pilas, put your
Mhm.
batteries in, or like no te rajes. Um, when I called my mom in the middle of the dissertation writing portion, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I've rewritten this one chapter, and I went on and on and on for like 20 minutes. And at the end, she just said, no te
No
rajes.
te rajes. Whatever
Don't
you
give
do,
up.
don't give up.
And I was like, and that's all I needed to hear. That's all I
Yes.
needed to hear in that moment.
There's so much wisdom in the refranes, and I would say that just commentary. I really wanted to bring in refranes into the book because I wanted to bring in that like ancestral wisdom to the conversation. A lot of us as first gens, we feel like we're doing it all alone, and I wanted to recognize and acknowledge that we're not alone, and that we have, that this is a beautiful gift that our parents and grandparents have given to us, and I want us to really value it for what it is, because there is a lot of wisdom there, and it's such a good guide. Like I could use it refrain for like every moment of my life, really, and certainly for a lot of decisions that I make. And that's me bringing my parents and grandparents back into the conversation and be like, help me make the decision, and it's like they're part of it. So I wanted to acknowledge that was a very, very important part of this book.
Absolutely. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into some of the stories that you shared throughout this book. So you described a pivotal moment, very vulnerably, where you were passed over for a promotion,
Hmm.
and it pushed you to start self advocating more intentionally.
Hmm.
How might your career have unfolded if you did not take those steps? And what actions do you advise people begin taking now, regardless of where they are at in their career journey?
Yeah. For those people who don't know what self advocacy is, I just want to kind of start with like a all of us having the same understanding of what it means. It really means asking for what you need or want. So that's self advocacy, is just like asking for what you need or want. And it's a practice that I would argue that we need to build early in life, and not just for work purposes, but for life purposes. I think it's going to serve us well in life for us to always be asking for the things that we need or want. That's a very valuable skill, and I don't think enough of us like have that skill, when we enter the workforce, as we're going elevating through the ranks. Not enough of us are like exercising that muscle in the ways that we need to. And I think a lot of the reason why is because of the way we grew up. So a lot of the cultural scripts are like, hey, our actions are going to speak for themselves. Just work hard, keep your head down, be grateful for what you have. Someone's going to notice you. Mira que I was waiting for someone to notice me for like 20 years. I was waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, you're great. That never happened. But I was waiting for it because I really thought it would happen. Like I thought someone would like realize that I was like amazing. And the truth is we need to realize that we're amazing, and we need to like then use that platform to advocate for the things that we need or want. So, when we wait for other people to notice us, or if we're just keeping our head down and being grateful, and that doesn't serve us. None of that serves us. What we need to do is tell ourselves a different story. And that story has to be rooted in the belief that we deserve good things. If we work hard, then we deserve to be rewarded for the things that we do. And we're worthy of the same promotions and raises and advancement opportunities that our peers get. So that's, I think, like super fundamental. But regardless of where you are in your journey, and I want to get to the tips and advice part, I believe the first step is believing that you deserve good things. So I said that already. That's step one. I think then you should decide what it is that you want for yourself, right? Because if self-advocacy is saying what you need or want, then you need to be clear on what that is. And it might not be what other people want for you. It might not be what other people want for you. And I feel like a lot of us, we're getting these messages from mom and dad and family and things that we're putting on ourselves. And we're like, we need to do the corporate, and we need to make 6 figures, and we need to do this other thing, get promoted. We need to be a director. And it's like, maybe that's not really going to make you happy. And maybe that isn't what you want to ask for. Maybe it is. But the point is that you should end up with a list of goals and objectives that are going to make you happy. And then I would say the last step in the thing. So first you're convincing yourself mindset wise that you're worthy of it. Secondly, you're assessing and you're clarifying what it is that you want. And I would say third is then go ahead and ask for help. Now, is it a manager that can help you get there? Is it a senior leader? Is it a coach? Is it a family member? Is it a friend? Who can help you achieve the things that you want? And I think once we get clear, then, we need to establish timelines. Once we know what we want, let's establish some timelines, and let's have accountability conversations around like getting there. So it's like, if I want to be a director in the next 2 years, then I'm going to talk to my manager about that. That's an appropriate conversation to have with my manager. And I should be bringing it up on a regular basis when I meet with them and say, hey, that's still my goal. Here's some things I've been doing. What else do I need to keep in mind? And like, just keep it top of mind, front and center, so that there's no surprises at the end of the time period. And, hopefully you're going to get yourself a promotion in the process.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm seeing some of the refranes come through, Hady, that match this energy of that you're describing right now, that you have to not only believe in yourself, but then lean into asking and being very clear about what you want your path to be, and bringing in your co-conspirators, your supporters, to be able to do that. So we have Daisy, we have Diana Olivares saying, el que madruga, Dios lo ayuda.
Yep.
We have Diana Olivares, another favorite of mine, camarón que se duerme se lo lleva la corriente.
I was just thinking of that one. That one's in the book, Diana. So just so you know, it made the book. Not all of them made it. I had a list of them, and I had to, match the story to the refrán, to the lesson. So there was a lot of like, like a little puzzle situation there. But the camarón one made it, and I was really happy because I like camarón que duerme se lo lleva la corriente. It's like, yo, you gotta like wake up, stay woke, y'all.
Stay awake, stay alert, and most importantly, number one, believe in what it is that you're trying to achieve of yourself.
Yep.
And understand why you're trying to achieve that. I think that's what I got from your formula. Believe, understand yourself, and then move accordingly.
Yep.
So you have been able to build such an amazing career for yourself and path for yourself. And you've been very intentional as the people who you wanted to join you in this journey. And in the book, you write about the power of leading with cultura. What does that look like in action for you today? And why do you think it is essential for advancing as a community?
Yeah, I would say leading with cultura has 2 pieces to it. So one of them is more sort of introspective, and then one of them is more outward facing. The introspective one is more like noticing and acknowledging how culture and identity shows up in your own life. And so it's like acknowledging what makes you unique, leaning into your superpowers. Maybe it might be speaking two languages, being warm and kind, building community wherever you go, being loud and proud, leading with empathy. We know that we have storytelling in our blood, like that. Like you talk to any Latinx person, we got stories for days. Everybody does. Abuelas, everybody. That's a very common thread. We're resilient, and not that we want to wear that as a badge of honor, but we are resilient people because we've had to figure it out. And we've seen parents and grandparents, they make it work. I think I don't know if maybe there's another culture who say no, we did it, but I would say we probably created the side hustle, because I feel like we got side hustle on side hustles. Like, any Latinx person that I talk to, that's also a very common thing. It's like, yeah, I do this and then I do this and I do this other thing. And I got my own side hustles. I got my business and I have my side hustles too. So I think first and foremost, notice what are your superpowers and what are the things that make you unique. And some of them are going to be things that we share as a culture, and some of them are going to be individual to you. But I would say the second part of leading with cultura is then now noticing other Latinx colleagues that are at your organization, that are, maybe part of Alpha, an organization you belong to. Maybe they work at the company the same company as you. But you notice them. You want to notice them. You want to get to know them. You want to meet them. You want to find ways to use your influence to lift up the community and to amplify other Latinx voices. And I would say, like, right now, I got my own business, right? So I don't have colleagues per se, but I have a lot of, people that I partner with, that I collaborate with. But I have my own show. I have a show called Latinas Front and Center on LinkedIn. And I'm amplifying Latina voices every single week. I've been doing it for a year and a half straight, and I will do it until I run out of people to interview. But like, that is the assignment. That is how we show up with, and we lead with cultura. I would say when we join organizations like Alpha, like Leading Latinas and other Hispanic serving organizations, Latinx serving organizations, we're going to get to know more Latinx leaders, and we're going to discover how we can support each other's work. So when I meet you, I learn about you, and whether you're in corporate, you have your 9 to 5, or you're doing something, on your own, I can support you. I can find ways to amplify your voice, to lift your voice, to use my power, my privilege, any influence I have for you, for your benefit. So I think in the end of the day, leading with cultura is about intentionality. It's about, finding ways to remove barriers for other people. So I could be like, oh, I can help you with that. Oh, you don't have somebody who knows how to build a website? Let me give you the name of somebody I know. Or I work with the coach that does strategic planning. Let me introduce you to that person. And so we help remove barriers. We're intentional about all of this, and we're lifting each other up at every turn. And I feel like no one's going to care about our community in the way that we can. So it's really, really important for us to show up for each other. It's really important.
Absolutely. And y'all, the story behind Calladita No More, Hady was able to create this book with 70% of your team being made up of Latinas. And I know this was
and
not
9 out of 11 of my endorsers were also Latina.
Beautiful. And I know this wasn't in the agreed upon set of questions that I sent you ahead of time, but I'd like to pause and ask you who were some of the folks that were involved? Like, who is this group of people that you put together? Let's lift them up and thank them for their contributions as well.
Absolutely. So I want to give a shout out to Sandy, to Joanny, to Sol, to Suwani, to Vanessa, because I had 2, and to Ashley. And then, so Sandy and Joanny were my editors. Solo was my illustrator. Suwani was my PR coach. Vanessa was my project manager. The other Vanessa was my media manager. Ashley was my business strategist. And then I want to give a special shout out to Ana Dapelo Garcia. She's the founder and president of Leading Latinas, and she wrote my foreword. And then, like I said, I had 9 out of 11 of my endorsements came from Latinas. And it's everybody from like Pam Covarrubias. I had Gigi Gonzalez. I had Ruby Garcia. All the names that that you recognize. I went to them and I knocked on their door and I said, would you be an early reader and endorse my book? So that was really important to me. But I would say why it was important to me is because in the book, I'm telling people, lift up the community, show up for each other. And then like, que vergüenza if I wasn't doing that myself, right? So I had to walk the walk. And I know that we're capable. I know we're talented. I know that we bring passion to the work that we do. So I knew that having other Latinas help me share my story and get the book out into the world and tell people, other people, what a it would be a very powerful way to bring my message to life. I knew that including them was going to change how I showed up and how the book showed up. And it wasn't just going to be like another book, but it was going to be a book by Latinas for Latinas. That was very important to me. And I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to shout them out.
Yeah. I'm glad it worked out as well. This is definitely a story for the community, created by the community.
Amen.
Yeah. So
That's what I wanted it to be. And yo creo que se cumplió.
yeah, absolutely. And this book is a testament to the meaningful relationships that you've been able to build across industries, across leaders, and you've also built a lot of meaningful relationships with really influential leaders as well. So what strategies helped you build that network of people, and what advice would you share with professionals who want to grow their influence with intention the same way that you have?
It has to do with alignment. So there's a whole chapter in the book called Descubriendo Your Why, which is around like understanding your purpose. And I think once you understand your purpose, like what are you here in the world to do, then finding other people who share that mission and vision is very powerful. And that's sort of, I think, where I start. It's alignment. It's like I either meet someone and like instantaneously I'm like, oh, we are so aligned. We got this, we are, talking the same talk, we're using the same words, we are aligned in our mission. So that's very powerful. Maybe I read a post that someone shares, I see something on LinkedIn or one of the other social media platforms, and I'm like, ooh, that I'm curious about this person because something they said like that struck a chord with me. There's
Mhm.
something about what they said that like spoke to me. And so usually I'll just reach out to people like, yo no tengo vergüenza. So I'll like be like, hey, I saw what you wrote. I heard it was good meeting you, or like, whatever the context is that I've kind of, crossed paths with them. And I'm lucky. Here's the important part. I'm lucky that I have lots of projects and initiatives underway. So it's very easy for me to say, hey, do you want to come on my show? Because I have a show called Latinas Front and Center. So if I meet another Latina, I'm like, hey, you want to come on my show? Let me interview you. Or hey, do you want to read my book? Like, you said this thing and it feels really aligned with the book's message. Can I, here's, I'll send them a copy if I need to, or I'll, offer like an audiobook code and say, yeah, I really think this would speak to you. Or, hey, do you want to join my community? I have a community of readers that I'm building for next year. Would you like to join my community? I think, you could really contribute in a meaningful way. Or we could just start something brand new. But I think it starts, with a conversation. But the first step is alignment. Then it's like curiosity. And then it's like, hey, why not? Why not ask? 99% of the time I ask somebody, hey, like, can we chat? Can we do a cafecito? Whatever. I get a response. And usually it leads to like a next step. And I'm always down to build with like-minded individuals. Like, I think I'm pretty transparent about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and lots of people take me up on my offer. And I feel I've done that outside of the Latinx community as well with other BIPOC individuals. And people, I don't know, I feel like when you have that the same purpose, it's so easy to say yes. It's like it's not even a question. Like I'll give you another example. I just started like a book series on LinkedIn, and I reached out to a BIPOC author, and like we are very aligned. And I was like, hey, blah blah blah. Here's what my book is about. Here's some people that I've already brought on the show. Would you like to be on my show? She was like, here's my admin's email. Please schedule. Have her schedule me in for you. So it was like it was quick. It was like right away, and I appreciate that. Like that to me is like, yeah, we're working towards the same thing.
I'd like to bring in a question from the audience, if that's all
Okay.
right. It's related to this question. We have Steven Rivera who asked, like, how do we as a Latina organization um, compete and not compete with one another? We are in a saturated market here in California, and besides coalition building, what opportunities do we have to ensure we tap one another based on our expertise?
Yeah, I think I, so I'll kind of backtrack and say I write about this in the book. and I share a very specific story about a time where, like a colleague and I were, quote unquote, competing for the same role. But we really weren't. Like, we were both trying to get promoted, and it turns out that the company could have promoted him, could have promoted me, could have promoted both of us, could have promoted none of us. But we once we realized that, we actually helped each other get promoted. So he was
Mm.
like, "Oh, here are the templates that I use." I was like, "Oh, here's this other thing, best practice that I do." So we found ways to kind of collaborate with each other. I know that's like in the work, that's in the work setting. And what we're talking about here is from a community perspective. Give me a second to drink some water. I think more than anything, and I talk about this in the book a lot too, there's enough opportunity for all of us. There's enough opportunity for all of us. I am best friends. I am very friendly with people that do the same exact thing that I do. The same exact thing. And I will say nice things about them every time. And I'll be like, she's amazing. She's a great speaker. Hire her. She's the best of the
Mhm.
best. And she does exactly the same thing I do. And I don't have any fear in my heart to do that because I know there's plenty of opportunity for
Mm.
everybody. So no me molesta. I'm happy to lift up another person no matter what, because there are enough opportunities for all of us. And yeah, it may feel like things are super competitive, but I feel like that is the vibe, that the energy that people want us to have, so that we get like wrapped up in that circle of like, oh, it's got to be for me, me first. And I don't want to tell anybody about this thing that I heard, because it should, I don't want everyone else to get the exposure. Like another example is I found out about this organization that was like lifting up Latina authors. And I'm like, I've emailed and pinged every Latina author I know. I'm like, go put your name over there, go do this. And people have done it to me too, that's why it's very like a reciprocal thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I've seen people do it for me. Other Latina authors will reach out to me and be like, hey, I don't know if you know about this, but like, you should put your book out here, or you should apply for this award, or you should do this other thing. And we do that for each other. And so I think this notion of like, feeling like there's just not enough, this scarcity mindset is, I think I don't know, the man is planting that seed in us, and I don't think that's real. I think the reality is that there's plenty of opportunity, and we should always be, finding opportunities for ourselves and then bringing others with us. And I promise you that there's going to be enough for everybody. I'm very convinced of that. Yeah.
And advocating for opportunities to be made for other folks as well. It's not just yo entre y ya. It's a broader commitment to the network and to the community that you're reminding us to have, that is central to your why and how you move through this world.
Yeah, I talk very specifically in the book about when we knock down a door, we know that there's going to be so many people that are going to walk behind us. We can trust that. So what we should be doing is knocking down doors, like tearing down doors, breaking down barriers, so that we can go through, and the people behind us are going to come through as well. So it's not just for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't become the gatekeeper.
Yeah, don't be that person. Yeah, and
Uh,
again, I firmly believe with all my heart that there is enough opportunity, there's enough success, there's enough um, learning, there's enough, there's enough for everybody.
yeah,
And, if we start to believe that there isn't, I think that's what gets us into that trap where we feel we have to compete with other people and we have to keep things to ourselves. And I really don't want us to go there.
absolutely. And all of this work and intentionality requires stamina, clarity, resilience. Even when we don't want to be resilient, we find ourselves in those moments where we have to be.
Yes.
What practices have helped you sustain your energy and your
Mhm.
momentum to ensure that you are in it for the long haul?
Yeah. So in the book, I talk about something I call my health and wellness recipe. And it's like, I guess it's what I use, the combination of things that I use to stay healthy and well. And it's what helps me to thrive, essentially. And mine is made up of healthy, nutritious meals. It's made up of a balance of rest and movement, and then doing fun things. And fun things can be reading, travel, retreats, taking pictures, I don't know, whatever is fun for me, however I define fun. And it has taken me years to figure out what made me my best self. And it
Hmm.
was a lot of trial and error. And I'm gonna give you a big learning, and I'm gonna give you an example. A big learning that I, that over time I understood was that what works for other people doesn't always work for me. So it's like, as an example, I had lots of friends that were like yoga, and I'm like, every time I do yoga, I feel really bad because I'm not that flexible, and it made me feel bad. I have the times that I've tried it, I have always walked away feeling like bad about myself, that my body is not able to do the things
Yeah.
that other bodies can do. And so yoga is, as it turns out, not a good self-care practice for me. I do like meditation. I like, I'm okay with writing, but so, sometimes, not all the time. And I feel like getting clear about what works for you, not what works for your friend or your tia or your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your boyfriend, but what works for you. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
And notice what makes you your best self, because the best self, what it feels like is that you have clarity, is that you make good decisions, is that you feel grounded. And when I do the things, like I said, I eat the nutritious meals, I'm moving, I'm resting, I'm doing fun things, I can operate from a place of like, I'm very grounded, and I'm like, yes or no, I'm clear, I have clarity, and I can make decisions much easier, much more quickly. So I feel like getting to that place is like, that should be a priority. That
Yeah.
should really be a priority, because it's gonna make you, I don't know, I think it's gonna make you live a more fulfilling life, and you're gonna be operating from a much better place.
And especially as adults, try the things that you as a kid thought you weren't any good at. If I may interject with my own advice, I'm a huge proponent of people making things with their hands, whatever
Hmm.
it is that it is. If you want to go work on mechanics, build robots, build Legos, whatever. I build ceramics. I'm a potter. And I put my hands in clay every weekend. And I denied myself the practice of creating art
Yes.
for so many years because I thought you have to be perfect at it. And I did not know how to draw as a kid. All the contests that I won, or poster contest, shout out to my mom. She created every single one of them. She was the second grade park designer. Like, she designed the most beautiful park, and that ribbon had my name on it. Um, but I tried it as an adult years ago, and being able to be connected with my hands,
Yes.
so much of my mindset, and how grounded I'm able to feel in those moments. So,
Yeah,
if you
poems, writing poems. I know someone who
writing
likes
poems,
poems, or like
create,
the
y'all.
spoken word. I mean, it can be anything. I
It could
think
be
it is.
anything.
Yeah, I think it's really important to find the thing that fills you, that
Yeah,
that makes your heart sing. I talk about that
yeah.
phrase in the book. That whatever makes your heart
Puzzles,
sing, find that thing.
Lego, carpentry, drawing, whatever it is. I'm also a boxer. Sometimes
Oh
hitting
my
a
goodness.
so people are like, "Oh, you're getting out your frustration." No, it genuinely is so much fun. I feel no frustration in that moment. I'm not getting out anything except joy.
Qué bien.
So find your thing, y'all. Um, so and here to wrap us up in this conversation. So you're launching this book. You're launching big things, and you have been doing big things.
Mhm.
What's next, for the people who finished your book, and they're asking, how can I get involved? What's next? Can you share a little bit about the Power Squad community that you're building, and how people can
Yes.
stay connected if they want to continue this journey with you?
Yeah, thanks for asking about it. I am building a community, and it's for my readers and really anyone who would like to join us. And I envision it being a space where I get to be either the tia, the prima, the bestie, the amiga, because everyone's called me something different. So, but I've gotten like lots of cool names, and I appreciate it. The career amiga is the one I like the most. But I want to be able to share consejos from my own lived experience, just like I did in the book. And I want us all to learn from each other. And so I'm hoping that Latinas, women of color, and anybody who joins the group, first and foremost, feel seen, supported, and celebrated, just like they did when they read the book, because that's very, very important to me. And then, just, we're going to figure out together like what's next on people's journeys and help them to get there, give them the support and the encouragement that they need. And yeah, I currently have a wait list for that group. So if that's something that you might be interested in doing, I hope that you'll consider joining us. And I believe that's the waitlist
Yeah.
URL has been shared there. Yep. So there's more details coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So check out the chat, bit.ly/Power Squad waitlist, so you can continue to stay connected. One a very immediate way that you can be connected is to, again, reminder, join, fill out the form for a possibility to win your own copy of Calladita No More, or you can purchase a copy of Calladita No More anywhere where books are sold, calladitanомore.com. It's also available on Audible. And as we wrap up, I'd like to hear from the audience. One more quick reflection in the chat. Talk to each other. Take a moment to answer, what is one small action that you're committing to this month to be a little less calladita or calladito about?
I can't wait to see these. Please drop them.
Throw it in the chat. And as people are doing that, I just want to thank you one more time for sharing your stories, and to see the commitments that you are making to the community, to see them in action and come to fruition in this book. So thank you so much for your depth, your honesty, your courage that you brought into this conversation. Your story continues to be a reminder of what is possible when we lead with purpose, when we lead with cultura. Yes. And when we decide that we will no longer be silent in spaces where our voices matter. And to our Alpha community, thank you for joining us here today. We hope that this conversation inspires you to advocate for yourself, to invest in your relationships, invest in your community, and to take up the space that you have earned.
Reclaim your power, y'all.
Reclaim your power. Ponte las pilas.
Ponte las pilas.
Or another one, most of my refranes come from my mom, but in the middle of the conversation, you reminded me of one that my dad used to say.
Okay, which one was that?
Vergüenzas que robes y te pesquen robando. So like, que se te quita la vergüenza. Don't be ashamed.
Yes.
Like, and even then, it's okay. Like, it's a little bit of a complicated. It's like, it's okay to steal, but it's only bad if you're caught. But meaning you're the only one that is catching yourself. So que se te quite la vergüenza, undo that shame. So this session is going to continue to be available on demand, and we hope that you'll join us in our next Alpha Live. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.